Hey guys, so I'm gonna go check out this house that I apparently inherited. I've been so stretched for time lately, so I'm gonna have to multitask a bit. We're gonna have to do the review while I go look at the place. But hey, if this house is as cheap as the letter made it out to be, it's gonna be worth it. So yeah, let's go. This isn't really what I expected. This looks like the place, though.
Welcome.
Jesus.
You must be the Mr. Césaire. I am the butler of this mansion.
What's with the scythe?
Some light gardening work.
Okay, I got this letter and I figured I'd check the place out. I gotta say, I didn't even know I had a grading at twice removed.
What can I say about these movies? Nightmare Before Christmas came out in 1993. I can still remember the previews for it.
Who are you talking to?
I'm doing a review. Do you do something around here?
Would you like a tour?
I'm in the middle of it. Alright, fine.
Before we begin, the red door on the second floor and in the basement is off limits. Do not open.
It's my house.
Anyways, as I was saying, I was 6 at the time, but I wasn't allowed to see this movie until I was 14 because my mom tested it and it gave her nightmares. But honestly, I don't think I would have enjoyed this movie nearly as much at 6, so no harm done, probably. Corpse Bride came out in 2006 after Tim Burton's second animated film, James and the Giant Peach, and it received a chilly reception from a lot of Tim Burton fans, despite doing better in the box office, considering Nightmare Before Christmas's release was actually somewhat modest, being one of those films that sort of developed a cult following over time. Corpse Bride, by contrast, seems to polarize fans. Some people adore it, while others just plain dislike it. So can it hold up to the only holiday film that consistently has merchandise all year around, even 25 years after it came out? Or is this just a pale copy of Tim Burton's past genius, mimicking the old classics without any of the substance that made the old movies great? Let's find out.
Behold, the kitchen. It has all of the modern comforts. An icebox, running water.
Why does it smell like death in here?
Did I mention the running water? We have a well out back. That's where the water comes from. A deep, dark well. Would you like a glass?
No.
Pardon me, I must see to the laundry.
This one is tricky because it's the same type of animation for both films. It's stop motion. The difference in this case is the fact that one film came out over 10 years after the other. So yeah, the animation quality is most likely going to improve a bit in that time. Granted, Nightmare Before Christmas has been polished a couple of times in the last 25 years, and has even seen a 3D release in theaters. And the stop motion seems to have aged well, a plus for the medium. Well, at least when you're trying. When you're not trying, stop motion looks like this. Still, you can tell a lot of things have been improved in Corpse Bride, especially where movement is concerned. As pretty as Nightmare Before Christmas still is, the movement is a bit stiffer than it is in Corpse Bride. So, from a strict technical standpoint, yes, the animation for Corpse Bride is probably better. Although it is worth it to point out that the animation in Nightmare Before Christmas should earn some major points for still looking good after 25 years, and also being way more significant for the purpose of storytelling, given that back then this wasn't so much Tim Burton's trademark style as it was an attempt to parody Christmas specials. That said, those are metaphorical points, because Corpse Bride gets the actual point for animation since, yeah, it looks better. Yeah, I'm just gonna come out and say that Nightmare Before Christmas takes this one. I can sense some of you Corpse Bride fans rallying now, perhaps scrolling down the page to type your reply and tell me that the music in Corpse Bride is also good, or underrated, etc. And to you I reply, okay, if you like it then cool. To me the songs are fine. They aren't bad, but really, there aren't many of them, and of the 4 or so that there are, I would say 2 are memorable. So half of them. Nightmare Before Christmas is a musical. Corpse Bride is a movie with a couple of songs in it, and unlike Corpse Bride, if I were to go up to absolutely anyone who has seen the movie and ask them to sing a couple lines of any Nightmare Before Christmas song, chances are they probably could.
With Corpse Bride, not so much.
Greetings. I am a maidservant at this manor. You must be the mistress's heir.
Yeah, we've been over this.
The laundry has been sedated.
I have been given instructions to present this riddle to you.
Instructions from who? What riddle? What are you talking about?
I am a maidservant at this.
Alright, I'll do the thing. What is this?
Our mistress has hidden a great fortune within the grounds of this mansion, but she decided to break it up into little pieces and hide it in various hard-to-find locations. Each location will give you a clue to the treasure.
Why?
She feared that her peers would be after her boundless treasure, and so she hid that treasure in various hard-to-find
Okay,
locations.
I get it. But why didn't she just put it in a bank or a safety deposit box or something?
Our mistress has hidden...
Alright, I'll do the clue.
Victor is the main character in Corpse Bride. He's an awkward, bumbling, and clumsy protagonist voiced by Johnny Depp. It wasn't as cliche back then. He's actually kind of the opposite of Jack in Nightmare Before Christmas, and no, I don't just mean because he's got, like, hair and skin and stuff. Victor lacks confidence and is depicted as hopeless and a bit of an outsider, while Jack is extremely confident, almost arrogant, admired, sure-footed, and, yes, has no skin. Victor and his family have just come into new money and are attempting to marry into a family with old money to increase their position in society. The only problem is Victor seems to consistently choke on his wedding vows. While practicing in a forest, he accidentally marries a corpse, yeah, I know, that old chestnut, and is brought to the land of the dead. Victor's character arc in this movie develops as he experiences the difference between the stuffy Victorian society he's used to and the much more laid-back society of the dead. I usually take to clumsy, awkward, hopeless characters. I have a weakness for that archetype, but while I like Victor, I don't take to him as much as I have to other characters like him. A lot of this is due to some of the choices he makes, and sometimes his development is a little rushed. While I can't really penalize him for not wanting to be married to a corpse, his immediate devotion to Victoria feels sort of unnatural. In addition to this being totally cool with marrying Emily and dying later on in the film, is also slightly odd to me. A lot of this is probably attributed to how short the movie is, but because of these things, I really do like Jack better. He's a character who does nearly everything wrong, screws up horribly, almost ruins Christmas for his own selfish reasons, and he's the good guy. he's still somehow likable throughout all of this. There's something endearing about him. The fact that he falls in love with Christmas but just cannot grasp what makes it the way it is, and then tries to reproduce it and winds up creating something that nearly destroys everything, makes him more interesting and a much more unique protagonist than awkward, bumbling outsider. Hell, you don't even need the villain. The main character is doing a fine job destroying Christmas and terrorizing people all by himself. I love it.
Eureka! This year, Christmas will be ours!
So the first clue turned out to be a book. Which book? Who knows? There are hundreds of them in this place.
Mistress, I believe I found it.
Finally. This is treasure?
I mean, it looks delicious, but still.
I'm rain down from above. I like to keep things clean. Oh, please do use me often so other kids aren't mean.
Other kids? Are these riddles meant for children?
Our mistress occasionally had trouble stringing words together. Perhaps she consulted some internet resource of some kind.
Does the new mistress know the answer?
Everyone knows the answer. It's water.
Water. The deep dark well.
Yeah, no, I'm done with this.
But what of the treasure?
This is not treasure. What the?
It must be the ghost of the mistress of the house, angered that we seek her treasure.
She sent the clues.
Now we must go to the well.
Alright, so moving on to the leading ladies. Corpse Bride has two, Victoria and Emily, and they're both pretty likable. I always thought Emily was more interesting. Victoria seems like a decent character, she just isn't given enough to do, and because of it, comes off as a little dull at times. She has a few moments where you can kind of see some of her personality, but it suffers again due to the film's length. I don't know if Emily gets more time, but she does leave more of an impression, and by comparison, is more likable. She's sort of enthusiastic and a bit silly, and is given a genuinely tragic backstory. Honestly, she's probably my favorite character in the film. And then, of course, there's Sally in Nightmare Before Christmas. I never understood why some people don't like her. Apart from having an interesting design, I love the fact that she's stuffed with fall leaves and frequently has to sew her own limbs back on. I think she's a fun character. I've heard a couple people say they dislike her because she spoils the fun. I guess because she tries to stop Jack's Christmas. Well, yeah. Look at what happened. He got shot down by the military and Santa nearly got eaten. I don't think she's no fun because she's sensible. I think she's great. Sort of a curious, slightly out of place character who repeatedly poisons her creator to escape, but is also the voice of reason. She's actually given quite a bit of development when it comes to behavior and quirks and stuff. I'd say her and Emily are on equal grounds as far as their personalities go, but I will give Corpse Bride the bump on this one for those few moments they give Victoria that are actually good. Side characters are definitely best in Nightmare Before Christmas, at least in my opinion, mainly because the residents of Halloween Town are really kind of hilarious in their own way. Plus, I love how they're completely useless without Jack. They flip the hell out if he's gone for one night. I mean, they drain the lake after one night. Plus, there are a lot of awesome designs in this film. Corpse Bride has some interesting characters in the underworld, but for the most part there aren't a lot of major standouts, and the living characters are sort of lackluster. Even the undead characters are kind of lacking in creativity when you compare them to any of the characters in Nightmare Before Christmas. So that leaves us with the villain, and it's probably going to come as no surprise that I'm gonna go with Nightmare Before Christmas again with this one. It's weird because not only is Oogie Boogie not in the film for a good portion of it, but this is one case where the hero kind of does more damage than the villain does. Still, he's got a fun design and a fantastic song. 25 years later, and this scene still looks fantastic. So fantastic that other Disney movies are still ripping it off. The villain in Corpse Bride, by contrast, is meh. He's not in it for very long either, but doesn't manage to make as much of an impression in the time that he is. I'm kind of left wondering if he was really necessary. I mean, he relates to both Victoria and Emily's story. He could have been pretty interesting, but instead of really playing him up, it almost feels like his character was kind of shoehorned in to force a connection between the two characters. And in the end, he doesn't really matter all that much. I can't even remember his name without looking it up first. Point goes to Nightmare Before Christmas.
And so that leaves us with the story.
Mistress, I found the treasure and the next clue.
Oh, hey, another cupcake. And this time from a well. Awesome. Wow, this one is written better, but it's still pretty awful.
The ghost strikes again.
Okay, I have a plan. Does that lantern you're carrying work, or is it just supposed to be spooky and mysterious?
It works.
Alright, cool. Let's go to the front of the house.
Both of these movies are around the same length, but Nightmare Before Christmas benefits from how straightforward the plot is. You never really question Jack's actions. He's sick of Halloween, he finds something that is pretty much the opposite of what he's used to. He decides to take it for himself, and naturally it doesn't go very well. Doesn't take too long to realize that Jack's Christmas is going to be a disaster, but it's still so much fun to watch how it unfolds. The fact that he's so naive and really does mean well the whole time adds to the charm of the character. He may be doing an awful job, but man is he enthusiastic about it. Plus, this movie feels like it's the perfect length. A lot happens in a short amount of time, but I don't feel like they're rushing through things. With Corpse Bride, the pacing is a bit messier. Sometimes they take their time, other times it feels rushed, and is trying to tell a lot more story without adding extra time, which in turn leaves less time for development of certain plot elements and characters. Relationships feel rushed, choices feel rushed, arcs feel rushed. Personally, I don't think Corpse Bride is a bad movie, but I do think it's one of Tim Burton's weaker films. Well, during the time it came out, anyways. It's actually one of the better movies he's released in the last decade or so. I know it's probably the obvious choice, but hey, there's a reason Nightmare Before Christmas has lasted all these years and has become such an icon. So, yeah, it gets the final point and wins.
Okay, here we are, at the front door. And look, here's the treasure. It's a bunch of grapes. Okay, light the lantern now.
It's Chanticleer.
Who? The cook. What?
I might have suspected.
Who the hell is this? Fine, you got me. Years of dedicated service for nothing. Because the cat didn't like me. Because I couldn't actually cook. And I would have gotten away with it if it weren't for you meddling.
Alright, I've had enough of this.
So that was it? No ghost? Just some disgruntled employee? This place isn't even haunted?
Oh, it's definitely haunted.
Super haunted. There's something living under the stairs, and a ghost in the drawing room.
And then there's Bruno.
Bruno? Looks like he's awake.
It's your turn for it.
Rock, paper, scissors for it.
1, 2, 3. Try it.
I suppose you'll be fleeing in terror now?
Are you kidding? In this economy? Free house. I don't care if my neighbors are stereotypical hillbilly cannibals.
Funny you should say that.
They're very nice.
They do eat people, though.
Huh. I assume you guys know how to take care of a body? Great. So, happy Halloween, everyone. I'm the Animated Heroine. Thanks for watching.